Alright, welcome back. Happy time zone to you all. Technically, I'm on a holiday just now, but a new Yu-Gi-Oh format just got announced, and I'm having a bit of a day with nothing going on, so I figured I'd cover this while it's still fresh. This is Yu-Gi-Oh Genesys format, which, as it says here, reverts the board state to before pendulums, so no pendulum zones, no extra monster zones, which it's surprised. It actually has surprising impacts beyond just you can't play pendulum or link monsters. A significant number of, and not entirely insignificant number of cards, such as say Runics, specifically summon their monster to the extra monster zone rather than just summoning from the extra deck. So like Runics don't work. Well, the other effects, or the Runic effects to summon a monster doesn't work. The effects of like various other cards don't work. There are some. There's like a Cyber Dragon fusion you can't summon anymore because it needs a monster in the extra zone as a material. But the main draw of the format is that we do not use the standard ban list. Every card in the game is legal, but there is a point system for, I think, like about 600 cards deemed to be worth this thing, with the standard being 100 points maximum. So that seems fair enough, but as it says here, you could have any point cap you want when you're playing, such as a tournament. 0 point could be interesting. I would be interested to play some 0 point events myself. They have tools for deck list, point access calculators, strategy guides, seems like. So if we look through the list, right, we see there are cards like Abyss Dweller, Anti-Spell Fragrance, Skill Drain, Arcana Force the World, like Floodgates, cards that are key parts of locks and no TKs, like FTKs, I mean, that sort of thing, are put to 100. There are a lot of cards that are like 5s or 33, 3 even. Not quite sure why Ancient Gears have multiple cards at 33 points. Lure of Darkness at 5, fair enough. Agido, alright. But you see the world is at 100, and then the Arcana Force Field spell is at 1 later on. So you can't play if you want to play the world lock, you don't get the guaranteed heads off of the field spell, which is probably fairly good. Like Ash Blossom 15, Barrier Statues are like 60, Beatrice 100. Book of Eclipse, Book of Moon, very good. Bunch of branded cards are hit. Butterfly Dagger Elma is at 1, and Royal Magical Library is at 100. So you can't do the infinite draw engine with a Gear Free the Iron Knight. Bunch of Bestials hit. Called by the Grave at 20, Card Destruction 40. Yeah. Asabalt Turtle 100, of course. Plenty of cards. Plenty of cards hit. Powerful generic monsters. Powerful back row. Yeah, a bunch of Crystons are hit, so only by a small number of points, so you can probably still make a Crystron deck fairly well if you're into Crystons. Cyber Dragon Infinity, 20 points. So it takes up a decent portion of a Cyber Dragon player's point budget to run Infinity. But yeah, you're probably going to want Infinity. I doubt this will discourage any Cyber Dragon decks from not running Infinity. But it might discourage other machine decks from putting in Nova Infinity for if they can make rank 5s. The fair number of dangers are hit, that's fair enough. I don't know some of these cards. Dark Hole, is it 3? Interesting. Blink Duo 100, okay, fair enough. Not very many hero cards are hit, like DPE is hit, Plasma is hit. Plasma for being a floodgate, I presume. DPE and Fusion Destiny are probably on here more for their generic crimes rather than for being serious in hero. Stratos is at 3 points. I think you could probably make a fairly decent hero deck. Heroes might be able to do well in this format if you work hard at it. I'm sure there's probably plenty of people having uploaded hero lists onto the internet, deck profiles, that sort of thing already. Bell start 20. Okay. Zeus. Uh-huh. Ecclesia Virtuous. 3. The Dominus cards. Alright, fair enough. Draco Tails. Dragon Maze, yep. Egg Veiler at 7 points. A lot of stuff going on here. Emergency Teleport at 40. That Emergency Teleport at 40 is interesting. I could maybe see that affecting like the popularity of maybe stuff like Punk in this format, because, well, do you really want to use nearly half of your budget, your point budget, on a starter when you could instead just play a different deck? Well, I suppose if you really like the deck, you'd be willing to do it, but yeah, it's interesting. Ryzeal's evenly matched at 10. Fire Jar is at 30. Final Countdown 100, okay. Fire Formation, Fire Kings, interesting. What I find interesting is that Foolish Burial and Foolish Burial Goods are here, but Extra Foolish isn't. Yeah, Fusion Destiny at 33. Ghost Spell at 5. Ghost Mourner 7. Ghost Ogre 5. Ghost Sister 3. Yeah, a lot of the sort of the standard hand traps and a few extras are all hit in some fashion or another, so people might perhaps try to find more unconventional hand traps. Let's scroll back up a bit. Is DD Crow at? Interesting. Didn't expect it to be, but you never know. You never know. One copy of Instant Fusion is allowed. 100 points for Instant Fusion. Could be interesting if you. I don't see Instant Fusion seeing play. Not in a 100 point meta. Maybe in like a 200, 300 point event, I can see people, but I don't see it being more likely that people will blow their entire budget on Instant Fusion, or maybe Junk Speeder if you're playing Synchrons. I could see a Synchron player maybe using Junk Speeder as their entire budget. A bunch of canines are hit. Fair enough. Kashtira got hit so bad that you can't play Kashtira. Well, you could play it like as an engine, I suppose, but not like as your dedicated deck. Your elements have been blown up. Kwakimeru? I don't know what sort of crimes Kwakimeru have done to be required points, but perhaps inform me of what those are. Evolve Chain 80, fair enough. Light Barrier at 1, lose a turn. Lyrolusks have a few hits. Max C is at 50, so if you wanted, you could do 2 Max C and no other pointed cards. I don't know about that. I don't think I'd do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone put in maybe like 1 Max C and found some combo or other to search it. Maybe there's like a. I don't know if Small World is on this. If Small World isn't a pointed card, then I could maybe see people finding like a Small World bridge. Like a small, like the deck that can Small World into it. No. Snatch Steal is at 7. Where's Change of Heart? Now that I see Snatch Steal is there. Change of Heart is at 10. Alright. Keeping these things in mind. Lightning Storm, 40, fair enough. Probably the versatility of being able to blow up either the front or back row. Auto grades at 30. There's plenty of interesting stuff. I find it funny that all the rank up magics, every single rank up magic is at 1. At least 1 point, I should say. Because number S0 Utopic Zexal is hit 100 points to stop you from getting the easy summon condition of discard a rank up magic and make it with 1 monster rather than needing to overlay 3 Xyz cards. But yeah, I find it kind of funny that Baguska is considered as powerful as a Shockmaster. Okay, Crooked Cook is funny, but you can't do a Crooked Cook Astral Karibo line anymore because Astral Karibo is at points. So yeah, Utopic Draco Future 20. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff in here that I'm like, I can see why they would do this. Onomatopyra, I'm a little confused on, but maybe people playing like Onomat Ryzeal maybe, or is it because it searches 2? Or Geki at 7, okay. Reinforcement of the army at 40 is an interesting one. Would not be surprised if some decks, maybe like a Noble Knight player or something, was to experiment with a deck that just gets like 2 reinforcement of the army and not much else. You don't have to use all 100 points. You can even use fewer than 100 if you want. It's just that's the sort of default limit. Soul Charge. 50 points for Soul Charge. That's interesting. Sprite Starters. Head. Python. Okay, Super Poly. Interesting. Supreme King Dragon Starving. Alright. Yeah, there's plenty of interesting stuff here. Like every, like what is that? Well, almost every tier limit. Yeah, almost every tier. Okay, so you could maybe use some of the tier limit. That's funny. Zombie Vampire 50, kind of annoying to me because I'm a fan of playing vampires. Um, that's fine. I can work around it. I don't really summon it very often, so do that. Triple attack talent at 93, triple attack thrust at 13. Fascinating. Wind up. Suborg, Zodiacs, a bunch of Zodiacs are okay. Well, they're gonna keep changing these because I think some of these were edited like the day after the format was revealed, so I would not be surprised if they keep updating this, keep going on, maybe like after each event, they'll adjust point values, they'll adjust based on like conversations online and all sorts. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff in here. I've noticed like Exo Sisters haven't got any other cards set. You if you're willing to not worry about the teleport, like you could play Punk. More casual decks are available, like or even hell. Terror Top is the only Speedride card that I saw on the list, so you could probably be pretty well in this format with Speedride. You only have to dedicate 9 points to the engine by having triple Terror Top. So you could then dedicate all your other points to maybe some powerful synchro monsters, maybe some like generic word breakers, hand traps. I'm not sure what speed droids want to run, but there's plenty of decks. I'll probably be making Wind Witches in this. I'm quite fond of Wind Witches, although I'll be dedicating some of my point budget to the Terror Top Akatomborg engine. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be really fun to build decks for, to have fun playing around with. And I will, over the coming days, over the next few weeks, maybe longer than that even, I will probably work on a few deck lists, maybe make some, albeit kind of bad deck profiles for Genesys format. But as for now, I think I am done with my initial thoughts. So, goodbye, happy time zone, have a good one.